Remember when you were a kid digging holes in the sandpit, secretly hoping you could dig your way to China? While that's pretty much impossible, some people have managed to dig some mightily huge holes. From a well built by hand below sea level to a miles-long oil rig, here are 15 of the deepest holes ever dug by humans. Number 15. Kola Super Deep Borehole in Russia. When you were a young child, you probably recall competing with your friends to do something bigger and better than them. Maybe you decided to see who could build the bigger hole in the sandpit. Well, that's pretty much what happened between the United States and the USSR during the Cold War, resulting in the Kola Super Deep Borehole in Russia. Both the US and USSR were trying to see who could drill into the center of the Earth, and the race was on to see who could do it first. While the Kola Super Deep Borehole looks like a failed oil well, it's anything but. Beneath the cover in Murmansk, Russia, is one of the deepest holes ever drilled, at 40,230 feet into the Earth's crust.
423 feet.
Since 1989, it was the deepest artificial point in the ground until the Al Shaheen oil well in Qatar surpassed it at a depth of 40,318 feet. The Kola Super Deep Borehole ended up being deep enough to penetrate a third of its way into the Baltic Shield continental crust. Along the way, researchers even managed to find plankton fossils and hydrogen gas. Before we go on, like this video, smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell right now, or Slenderman will come from under your bed while you're sleeping. Now it's time for the star topic. This is undeniably one of the deepest holes found in Indonesia, and maybe even one of the most dangerous, but it seems that no one knows where it leads. A few Indonesians found this hole while out exploring, and every fiber in their being said, don't go in for a closer look. So what do? They go in for a closer look. One person in the group becomes brave and starts going down the wooden stairs, which is not the best idea. If you had this hole in front of you with stairs leading down into it, would you go into it? Comment down below with the hashtag star topic and let us know your opinion in relation to what we just showed on screen. With that said, let's keep things moving. Number 14. The Bingham Canyon Mine. In 1948, two brothers, Thomas and Sanford Bingham, discovered copper ore minerals on land where they grazed their cattle. By 1863, that same area was being mined of placer gold, lead silver, and copper gold. By the 19th century, the mines were kept quite small. But the Bingham Canyon Mine was now the largest human-made excavation, not to mention the deepest open-pit mine in the world. It has produced 19 million tons of copper, which is more than any other mine in history. Rio Tinto, a multinational corporation, now owns it, and it became a National Historical Landmark in 1966. But as what sometimes happens with large open holes, they can collapse. There was a landslide in April 2013, followed by another that September. These caused up to 2.5 billion cubic feet of dirt and rock to roll down the side of the mine. A production loss of 100,000 tons of mined copper followed. Still, that didn't stop this deep mine from being a valuable asset. It remained one of the world's most productive mines and was worth a whopping $1.8 billion back in 2006. Its value is greater than the California Gold Rush Mine, Comstock Lode, and Klondike combined. Number 13. The Kimberley Diamond Mine in Africa. The Kimberley Mine, or Tim Kuhle Mine open pit and underground mine, is one of the deepest holes excavated by hand. It's located in Kimberley, South Africa, and has a surface area of 42 acres and a 1,519 feet width. Initially, it was excavated to a depth of 790 feet, but after being filled in with debris, it became around 705 feet. Then, about 130 feet of water in the bottom has shortened it to make only around 574 feet of it visible.
I thought it was bigger. Last time.
That's what she said.
Once it became dangerous and unproductive to mine above the ground, the Cecil Rhodes De Beers Company mined the Alaric mine to 3,599 feet. So how did this mine come about? Well, in 1871, Red Cap Party member Alaric Braswell became the first person to discover diamonds on Colesberg Kopje, which was on the Verutziget farm belonging to the De Beers brother. As word got out, more and more miners turned up with picks and shovels to get their fill. From 1871 until 1914, at least 50,000 miners found about 6,000 pounds of diamonds in the Kimberley Diamond Mine, which equated to 13,600,000 carats. Mining operations closed in 1914, and the open pit mine became a tourist attraction and formal museum. Number 12. Diavik Diamond Mine in Canada. Many mines have origins back to the 1800s, but the Diavik Diamond Mine is one of the new players to the game. Still, even though it doesn't have a long history, it does have a huge hole. The Diavik Diamond Mine in Canada is one of the deepest holes ever dug by humans. The Rio Tinto and Dominion Diamond Corporation owned mine opened in 2003 and is now deeper than 600 feet into the Canadian Arctic. Annually, it produces around 3,300 pounds of diamonds. The mine is located in the North Slave regions of Canada's Northwest Territories, and it sits just 190 miles from Yellowknife. It consists of 2 open pits, a waste rock pile, and an airstrip to get miners in and out. Since its opening in 2003, this mine has grown in both value and size. One of the largest rough gem quality diamonds ever discovered in Canada was found at this mine in 2015. A 187.7 carat Diavik Foxfire diamond. Then, just 3 years later, in 2018, the largest diamond ever found in North America was discovered there too. This was a 552 carat yellow diamond. Number 11. The Berkeley Pit in Montana. The Berkeley Pit in Butte, Montana is so deep that when you view aerial photos of it, it just looks like a dark hole. But don't be fooled by how innocent this hole seems, because if you were to drink the liquids that were in it, you would die due to them corroding your digestive system. The Berkeley Pit is 1 mile long, half a mile wide, and about 1,780 feet deep. Around 900 feet of that depth is filled with heavily acidic water. It's not only acidic, but toxic, for dangerous chemicals and heavy metals leach from the rock.
That's to keep them off the water.
Yeah, the boom.
The mine is 4,698 feet above sea level and was opened in 1955. It then closed on Earth Day in 1982. It was one of the largest Superfund sites and was also one of the most lucrative for metals. About 1 billion tons of materials came from it, including copper, silver, and gold. These days, it's not a functioning mine, but you can visit it, go to the gift shop, and pay a fee to go out onto the viewing platform. Number 10. Mirny Mine in Russia. The Mir Mine, or Mirny Mine as it's also known, is one of the deepest holes ever dug by humans. In fact, it is the 4th deepest in the world. It's an open-pit diamond mine in Mirny Sakha Republic, which is in eastern Russia's Siberian region. Following the war, the Soviet Union had a great need for industrial-grade diamonds, so Stalin ordered the construction of the mine in 1955. Today, it's 3,900 feet across and a whopping 1,722 feet deep. Creating a mine by hand is never gonna be easy, but doing it in the Siberian region is even harder. The frozen landscape made it exceptionally challenging to dig, and jet engines were used to try and melt the permafrost to make it easier. When that didn't work, the miners used dynamite. During its peak years, the mine produced over 10 million carats of diamonds, a significant proportion of which were gem quality. Open pit mining no longer occurs at Murny Mine, but underground mining has continued. Every day, 20-foot tall rock hauling trucks make the journey from the lip of the massive hole to its basin. Number 9. Ice Cube Neutrino Observatory in Antarctica. The Ice Cube Neutrino Observatory is a neutrino observatory in Antarctica's Amundsen-Scott South Pole Station. It has optical sensors known as digital optical modules that send digital data from a deep hole to the surface. As of 2013, Ice Cube had detected 28 neutrinos that likely come from outside the solar system. Those digital optical modules are put onto strings and sent down melted holes created by hot water drills. They reach depths of between 4,757 feet and 8,038 feet.
All right, everybody.
Construction of the massive hole began in 2005. And 5 years later, it was finally finished at a cost of $279 million. Ice Cube was developed by the University of Wisconsin-Madison and is part of a series of projects. When it was being built, construction could only occur from November to February during the Antarctic austral summer. During this time, it remained light 24 hours a day, which allowed for continuous drilling. When it was first built, it only had enough strings to make sure it could collect data and ensure the optical sensors were working. During the 2005 and 2006 season, 8 more strings were added to make it the largest neutrino telescope in the world. Number 8. Sakhalin-1. In 1949, oil well drilling depths were an average of 3,635 feet. You didn't have to go too far into the earth to extract oil, and technology didn't allow for you to go all that deep anyway. But as technology improved, all that changed. By 2008, the average oil drilling depth was 6,000 feet. Exxon Neftegas, which operates the Sakhalin-1 project, well and truly blew that average out of the water in 2011. They drilled the world's deepest well, known as Odoptu OP-11, which was 40,502 feet into the earth. Then, in 2012, they beat their own record again with the Z44 Chavo well at a depth of 40,604 feet. This well was 15 times the height of the Burj Khalifa skyscraper in Dubai, which is the world's tallest. Since the Sakhalin-1 well was drilled, 6 out of the 10 record-setting wells have been drilled under the same project. But if you thought 40,604 feet was impressive, they didn't stop there. The record was broken again in November 2017 with an oil well reaching 9.28 miles or 49,000 feet deep. Number 7. The Woodingdean Well. In 1958, a new workhouse was to be built on what is now Elm Grove in the UK. Officials were going to add a school for juveniles to it, which would teach misplaced youth about industry work. The only problem was, having water pumped from the nearest waterworks would be expensive. So the Guardians decided to build a well which would be cheaper. They never intended to break records, but they did. The Woodingdean Well became the deepest hand-dug well in the world. Initially, they decided to put a 6-foot wide brick shaft into the ground around 400 feet to the subterranean water table. However, after digging for 2 years down to 438 feet, they still hadn't struck water. Thinking they missed the supply, they created a lateral chamber northward around 30 feet, but still came up with nothing. They tried to the east and west, and once again, nothing. So they built another 4-foot wide shaft at the tunnel to the east. Finally, at 1,285 feet deep, with 850 feet of that below sea level, they found water. It took 4 years and a labor force working with their hands to finally finish the well. Number 6. The Tuatona Mine. The mining industry can be quite fickle. When prices are low, it's not always efficient to mine at full capacity, and they can go through periods of inactivity. But not the Tuatona Mine. As far as efficiency goes, this mine leads the pack. It's not only one of the most efficient mines in South Africa, but also home to some of the world's deepest mining operations. The Tuatona Mine is a gold mine operated by AngloGold Ashanti, just west of Johannesburg near Carletonville. It's a whopping 2.4 miles deep and has been in operation since 1962. Even when the price of gold is low, it continues to operate efficiently, and it's even growing all the time. It has had 2 secondary shafts added and has around 500 miles of tunnels. It also employs about 5,600 miners. However, it is a dangerous place to work, and at least 5 miners die annually. The mine reached its current depth in 2008, with the hope that it would extend the lifespan of the mine to at least this year. Workers hop into a lift cage which travels at 36 miles per hour. By the time you factor in horizontal travel, it can take around an hour to get from the rock face to the surface level. Number 5. Chuquicamata Copper Mine in Chile. Mined copper in Chile accounts for 1/3 of the country's foreign trade, which is why the Chuquicamata Copper Mine is so essential. By the late 1950s, this mine was one of 3 of the largest in the country, alongside El Teniente and El Salvador Mine. The Chuquicamata Mine is the largest open-pit copper mine when you factor in how much copper is mined from it every year. After expanding the refining facilities in the late 1960s, it became capable of producing 500,000 tons of copper every year. The mine is just outside Calama in the north of Chile, and it sits at about 9,350 feet above sea level. It's a whopping 2,790 feet deep and is only surpassed as being the deepest open pit mine by the Bingham Canyon Mine in Utah. Believe it or not, even though Chile now produces a considerable amount of copper for export, the country didn't always have a lot of mining activity. It wasn't until the War of the Pacific, when Chile annexed parts of Bolivia and Peru, that a massive influx of miners were drawn to the area. Soon after, over 400 mining areas and mining claims were set up. Number 4. Udachnea Pipe Mine. Just outside the Arctic Circle lies an open-pit mine that's most certainly one of the deepest holes in the world. The Udachnea Pipe Mine is a diamond deposit mine in Sakha Republic, Russia. It was discovered in 1955, just 2 days after the discovery of the Mermine pipe. At 2,100 feet deep, it is the 3rd deepest open-pit mine in the world, only pipped to the title of the deepest by the Chuquicamata Mine and the Bingham Canyon Mine. This mine is genuinely something special. Alrosa, a Russian diamond company, controls it, and it has reserves of about 225.8 million carats of diamonds. When you think of how few carats go into an average ring, that's an awful lot. It also has an annual production capacity of about 10.4 million carats. The mine is quite remote though, so its city was actually built up around the mine for the purpose of housing those who worked there. There are also plans in the pipeline to change its direction, for open pit mining is not as cost effective as it used to be. Watch this space. Number 3. The Grasberg Mine in Papua, Indonesia. There's only one word to describe the Grasberg Mine in Papua, Indonesia, and that's massive. Given that it employs around 19,500 people, you can only imagine just how significant this mine is. It was built at about 14,000 feet above sea level in a remote area of Papua, and it produces millions of pounds of gold and silver. It's the largest gold mine in the world, as well as the second largest copper mine. It goes without saying that this area is exceptionally rich for metals and minerals. The area this mine covers is also huge. It covers a 27,400 acre area and also has a second 413,000 acre block. 3 mining operations take place under the Grasberg mine title, including the open pit, deep ore zone underground mine, and the Big Gossan underground mine. A 4th was also in development, the Deep Mill Level Zone. To give you an idea of this mine's magnitude, let's look at 2016's mining efforts. 1,063,000,000 pounds of copper were mined, along with 1,061,000 troy ounces of gold and 2,900,000 troy ounces of silver. Even though there have been several labor strikes, there's no denying it is a significant employer. Number 2. Escondida Copper Mine in Atacama Desert, Chile. At an elevation of 10,200 feet in the Atacama Desert in Chile's Antofagasta region, you will find the Escondida Copper Mine. And all this mine will do is make you say, wow. Satellite imagery shows just how deep this mine is, not to mention how expansive the land area in which it is located is. The Escondida Copper Mine is about 787 feet deep and is one of several porphyry coppers in an area of 11 by 1.86 miles. It also forms part of a 372-mile West Fissure system, which is quite mineral rich. That's evident by just how much is mined from this massively deep mine. It has a reserve of about 34.7 million tons of copper. About 22.5 million tons of this is recoverable. Total resources at the mine, including reserves, sit at about 57.6 million tons. To operate at such a huge capacity, you need a pretty considerable workforce. There have been a lot of field offices and camps constructed, and more were underway as of 2012. The company also purchases 3 terawatt-hours of electricity per year just to keep the Escondida Copper Mine and Spence Mine operational. Number 1. Super Pit Gold Mine in Kalgoorlie, Australia. The Super Pit Gold Mine, which has an official name of Fimiston Open Pit, is the second largest open-cut gold mine in Australia. It's located southeast of Kalgoorlie off the Goldsfields Highway and covers an area of 0.93 miles by 2.17 miles. But even though it's a vast mine, it's also an exceptionally deep one. It's over 1,968 feet deep, which is not surprising given that it produces hundreds of thousands of ounces of gold every year. The mine employs about 1,100 people and originally consisted of several underground mines. In 1989, all the mines were consolidated into one, and it became a 50-50 corporate venture between the Gold Mines of Kalgoorlie and Homestake Gold of Australia. At this mine, around 15 million tons of rock is shifted every year, most of which are classed as waste rock. Mining processes consist of drilling and blasting, along with face shovels and dump trucks. In 2009, around 690,000 ounces of gold were moved from this mine at a price of $609 per ounce. So you can only imagine how much this mine is worth. I don't know about you, but I get tired just digging in the garden, and some of these holes are absolutely huge. It's hard to believe that some actually were dug by hand. Have you visited any of these places? Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on screen right now. See you next time!